This is one of the nicest gravel bikes I've ridden ever. Some bikes increasingly blur the line between a drop bar gravel bike and a flat bar mountain bike. And this, the Singular Kite Titanium, blurs the lines more than most. It's a fat-tired, do everything, do anything off-road bike. So in this video, we are going to review it. We're going to talk about the performance and handling and go through details. And as a bonus, we'll also speak to the founder of the company, Sam Allison, as well. So let's dive in. And what grabs your attention straight away is the lovely titanium frame and also a titanium fork. Now, we often see carbon forks on titanium and steel bikes, but here we have the option of a titanium fork, and we'll talk about how that affects the ride quality later in the video. Now, here in the UK, the frame on its own retails for £1,900, and there's loads and loads of options to customize the bike to your liking or requirements as well. You can add or remove bottom mounts, cage mounts. You can change the bottom bracket standard, add a front mech if you want, remove mudguard mounts, loads of options to tailor the bike to your liking. So that's really nice detail, something you don't often get with a mainstream titanium gravel bike offering. And as you can probably tell, tyre clearance is very generous on this bike. We have it spec'd with 650B or 27.5 wheels with a 2.3 inch or 58mm wide, almost mountain bike tyre. These tyres look fantastic. You might be aware of the Instagram page for your tyres, definitely worth checking out. They look fantastic and really match the titanium frame. As well as these small wheels, you can fit more conventional 700C road wheels, so a 29er, with up to a 45mm wide tyre. And because you buy a frame set on its own and you customise the specification, every bike will be very different. And this bike is a demo bike being built up for people like me to ride it. So I won't go into too much detail around the specification, but this is a fairly good example of how you might build it. One change I would personally make if I'm buying a bike like this and build it on myself would be to go to hydraulic disc brakes over the mechanical disc brakes on this bike, and maybe a wide range Eagle cassette on the back to help me out on the climbs. But other than that, I wouldn't change much about it at all, especially these fantastic tyres. Give me a show of hands if you've heard of Singular before. I have. I was mountain biking in the early 2000s when Sam Allison founded the company in 2006. And back in those days, gravel hadn't been invented yet, and 29er mountain bikes were still early in the development curve. And Sam, with Singular, were one of a number of small niche brands doing the British brand thing of being ahead of the mainstream curve, of embracing 29er wheels and fitting 29er wheels into gravel drop bar bikes and doing what back then was called by some monster cross. Basically taking a cyclocross bike and a mountain bike and merging them together into a bike like this, basically, that could do road and off-road in one package. So let's hear from Sam about how the company came about and how this bike came about and the journey he's been on since then.
Yeah, we've been doing the whole drop bar, big wheel, big tyre thing for quite a while. And so the brand launched in 2006 with Swift, which was a steel 29er that was designed to work either with a flat bar or a drop bar. So I was personally very much a convert to off-road drop bars as soon as I started using them. Just really enjoyed the variety of hand positions, the width and the control that it gave. So I'm probably still more of an advocate for drop bars for, you know, genuine off-road mountain biking than a lot of people are. But yeah, you know, so that's kind of where we began, and then it really built out from there. I mean, it's great. It is, you know, it's all lends itself to more people out on bikes, which is always a good thing. And, you know, I guess you can't escape the fact that, you know, a lot of brands are sort of jumping on it as like a new trend and, okay, well, we need a part of that, which is fine. You know, everybody has their own take on it. But yeah, you know, I think that what we've done is, you know, been not continuous, but you know, really recognize the versatility of that kind of bike right from the style. So, you know, gravel I think is very much a marketing kind of term. It's, you know, or it's a neat way to try and pigeonhole a very broad range of bikes really. So, you know, it can encompass anything from like really what you'd call traditionally a cross bike that might fit, you know, 35mm tires up to something that fits, you know, 3-inch wide tires. So it's a very broad spectrum of types of bikes, but it's a convenient term I think really for essentially anything with drop handlebars, although now you get flat bar gravel bikes which look a lot like the mountain bikes we were riding in the mid-90s. But yeah, I think it's just a recognition of a shift away from really racing performance-oriented bikes to bikes that are more practical and usable on an everyday basis across a variety of terrain.
Okay, lots of details about the bike. Probably time I get changed, we go for a spin, and I tell you how the beauty rides. This is probably the most fun expression of a drop bar off-road bike, a gravel bike, whatever you want to call it. Fat tyres, a comfy titanium frame and fork, wide handlebar, really wide flared handlebar, and it's so much fun off-road. Almost as much fun as a mountain bike without being a mountain bike, and all the extra complexity and weight of a suspension mountain bike. And these massive tyres, basically mountain bike tyres in terms of width, they give the bike outstanding ability off-road. It's smoother than most carbon gravel bikes I've tested, and it's as smooth as one with suspension forks on, like that Salsa Warbird I had last year. So the benefits of wide tyres when you take it to this extreme really is a good showcase for volume over suspension features or other gimmicks perhaps to try and provide a smooth ride. And yes, it definitely blurs the line between a drop bar gravel bike and a mountain bike. But on the road, on a faster gravel, you can hunker down the drops, get aero, and truck along a lot quicker than you can, in my experience, on a mountain bike. And the whole bike is lighter as well. No complex suspension to add weight, less maintenance required as well. But you're getting all the benefits of the wide tyres, and it is so comfy and so smooth, and therefore so fast riding off-road in my local woodland trails. And given the extra smoothness from a titanium fork over carbon fork, it's a wonder more bike brands don't follow suit as well. Yes, there's a weight penalty, but the smoothness and also the fact you can easily fit mounts for extra cages and bottles onto the fork legs really is a bonus for this type of riding, where weight ultimately isn't the biggest factor when choosing speccing a bike like this for bike packing, adventure, gravel racing, whatever it is. The geometry definitely harnesses the benefits of the big tyres, so quite slack, quite laid back, and that gives you that really calm and laid back handling you want for riding off-road, especially when you're doing steep trails where a mountain bike might be more at home. You can definitely get away with a lot more on a bike than you can a more road biased gravel bike like that Villiers Rave SLR I'm currently reviewing. That's a good expression of a fat tired road bike, super stiff but super fast on smooth surfaces. But off-road, yeah, it's pretty jarring. This bike isn't as fast on the road as that Villiers Rave SLR, but it's so much faster and so much comfier and so much more fun off-road because it can handle the bumps, the roots and the rocks that would otherwise slow that bike down or lead to that jarring ride that it definitely exhibits off-road. And right about now is usually when people say down in the comment section below, why don't you just buy a hardtail mountain bike? But for me, again, I go back to my point in previous videos that a bike like this offers way more versatility and adaptability than a mountain bike. This, with some fast wheels and narrow tyres, could be a good road bike with mudguards, and then a fast gravel bike with a 700cc wheel set and a 42mm wide tyre. Then this setup for the ultimate off-road capability, a monster cross tractor through really rough trails. And then for extreme bike packing, and what I mean by extreme, Well, that Badger Divide in Scotland I did last year on a South of Warbird, which is a rough, brutal course over big mountains with big rocks, and the comfort was a real factor in the reason I chose that suspension fork on that bike. Yes, you can get through that sort of course on a normal, typical gravel bike, but when you're riding 2, 3, 4 days with a heavy bike due to all your luggage, a bit more comfort is no bad thing without riding a mountain bike. And this bike with these tyres would be amazing for that bike packing route. So more of us discover and enjoy bike packing and push the limits of these bikes. I think bikes like this which stray even further from that road bike DNA and borrow the good bits from a mountain bike whilst retaining the essence of a drop bar bike. It really is a perfect package for that style of riding that's becoming really, really popular. Yes, if you want to buy a mountain bike, nobody's stopping you. But this is not trying to compete with a mountain bike, trying to offer something else, something between a mountain bike and a road gravel bike, and this bike does it really well.
I think it's totally blurred, you know, and I think this is fundamentally, it's really a function of disc brakes, which has blurred that line, you know, and that's kind of something that I recognized pretty early on, was to say, okay, well, by having the brake at the hub, it gives you room around the tire, so you're not constrained to having to fit a caliper around a tire, so you can have one bike that can run a multiple range of different tire sizes, and you don't have to consider, okay, well, is it going to fit through the brakes? So I think it really stems from the advent of discs, and then it's taken a while to realize, and you know, we now see that even full-blown road bikes will have clearance for up to like 30 or more millimeter width tires. So yeah, I don't think that there's a line. It's just a broad spectrum of bikes, from very racy oriented performance road bikes right up to like 3-inch wide tires. So, you know, and you see a range of different geometries, each of which has their relative merits in terms of how the bike handles, from, you know, anything to very steep to really pretty relaxed and more, you know, technical off-road oriented bikes through to very road leaning bikes. So you know, I think there's no need to try and pigeonhole or shoehorn a particular type of bike into a certain category. It's more like, okay, well, this is the bike, this is what it does, this is what it excels at, and is that going to work for you?
In summary then, the Singular Kite Titanium is a lovely, lovely bike, both to look at and appreciate all the details on it, and also to ride as well. One of the more fun, grin-inducing gravel bikes I've tried in the last few years. Especially these tyres, real highlight of the bike, but also a lovely titanium frame with a titanium fork. A weight penalty over carbon, yes, but the ride quality is superb. A lovely level of smoothness that you don't often get from aluminium or carbon fibre gravel bikes. And while titanium will never be the cheapest or most affordable option, it definitely has that special pull on the heartstrings that few other materials can offer. And there's loads of customization available as well. The geometry, all you have details on it as well. So really a bike you can design and specify to your very particular requirements. So that being my review of a Singular Kite Titanium. Not the most well-known bike brand, and there probably are cheaper options from bigger, more mainstream brands. But if you fancy something a bit different, then I urge you to check them out, and their website is linked down below if you want to take a closer look at this bike and other models in their range as well. But that's all for today. If you want to check out some more gravel bikes on their channel, then check this video right here. And don't forget to subscribe by hitting this button right here. But that's all for today. I'll see you again very soon. Thank you so much for watching.